Welcome to the Rocket Roof Show, where we equip fellow roofers to do more commercial business every first and third Thursday of the month. It's time to launch your business to the next level.
This is Project Command. Stand by at power transfer.
3, 2, 1, blast off!
Welcome back to another show of the Rocket Roof Show with your guest Andy Neer here. I am a roofing contractor on a commercial roofing company called Empire Contractors, but I also love to host this show, which is the basic premise is educating and equipping contractors for the commercial roofing market. And so I think we're like 17 or 18 episodes in. We haven't really been doing a good job of numbering them, but I think we're right about that number. And today, I have a guest here named Max Ogran, and we're going to be talking about safety and how that relates to the commercial roofing industry. And so I want to welcome you to the show, Max.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And so just want to clarify, Max is not this isn't what he does for a living. He's not a safety consultant or anything like that, or even a representative of OSHA or anything like that. But the reason I want to bring Max on the show today is because he was on the recipient end of having an injury on a job site. And we're going to talk about the ramifications and, the things that happened, the aftermath that happened after an injury. And so without further ado, if you could first start talking about, how you got connected with the construction industry and a little bit of your background.
Yeah, so when this thing happened, I was working with a maintenance company. I was brand new to the industry. I was 20 years old. So when that happened, I didn't know anything about the roof or anything about roofing at that point in time in my life. I soon learned that safety is a real big thing. When we were working on patching a hole in the roof, the previous contractor had painted over all the skylights and they were flush with the roof. So when I took a step backwards, I fell through one of the skylights. I fell 40 feet,
Cool.
landed, yeah.
Wow.
Landed on a concrete floor. There was nothing there to brace me at all. Luckily I had no head damage, but I had completely fractured my left wrist to the point where I had to have 3 reconstructive surgeries on it. And then I sent the ball of my hip through its socket and it bent my one of the hemispheres in my hips on my pelvis. So it was pretty extensive. I spent almost 6 to 8 weeks in a hospital. After that was all said and done, I had reconstructive surgery done to my pelvis. I have a lot of pins. I have a couple plates in there. I have nothing wrong with my wrist now, but it was completely shattered.
So did this company have a safety plan or a toolbox talks or any kind of safety meeting in the mornings?
No, they pretty much sent us up there. It was me and one other guy that was only 3 months old in the company and said, hey, run up this ladder and then check to see what's going on up there. I had no idea what was going on. But they pointed us in the direction of one of the holes that was in the roof that we were trying to fix. And that was pretty much that was my safety meeting. Hey, it's right there.
Yep. This is pretty common of a lot of roofing contractors, whether they're residential or commercial. But as we're coming into commercial roofing, it seems to be, a lot of lower slope roofs, bigger roofs. So I think people let down their guard. I was just doing this same exact topic 2 or 3 days ago on a roof when we were looking at skylights, and my videographer, I was showing him, hey, let's do a little video on here because skylights are dangerous. And it's kind of funny that you mentioned the story recently because, it is a very, very common thing. I've heard of building owners themselves falling through their own skylights when they go up there to visit the crew or to do their own maintenance. So, but tell me about the injury. You didn't completely recover. What happened a few years? I mean, a few years later, 10 years later.
So I was
happened, right?
Yeah. So I was fine for 10 years. Had all most of my range of motion back. I was able to walk. All that stuff. Able to go back to work. But 10 years after that, I woke up one morning, had horrible. Had a fever. It was 103. I was in bad shape. My wife ended up taking me to the hospital. They found a pocket of sepsis in the same hip that I had reconstructive surgery on. So I was in the hospital for another probably 3 or 4 weeks, just trying to get. Well, hang on. I guess I have to go back there. The surgery that I had to remove the sepsis almost killed me. They nicked my femoral artery. I almost bled out. I had internal bleeding. I sat up in bed right after the surgery, looked at my wife and said, "Hey, there's something wrong. Something's not right." And then I don't remember the next 3 days. They had to put 7 blood transfusions to get my blood back up to where it should be. Mm-hmm. So it was a pretty bad deal. But me, I'm not 20 years old. I'm not thinking about the longevity of what's going to happen when I'm 30. Mm-hmm. So it was a real wake up call to me. Go, hey, this isn't done. And now, I'm 33 years old and I'm going to have a hip replacement before I'm 40.
Yeah.
So yeah, safety and making sure that you're doing what you're supposed to on the roof is really what you need to be doing. Yep.
And so, were you also working by yourself, or did you have a team member with you, or?
I had a team member with me. Okay. Yeah, they tried to actually catch me before I went through the skylight.
Okay. So that's one thing we always talk about with our crews is that you should never go by yourself. You should always have a team member for multiple reasons. But so it only takes a little bit of effort to write a safety plan, right? And that's really what we want to really get to the end here is, and we have one here at our company, so like a little book right here that goes hand in hand with our handbook and some other resources we have in the company. But one of those things that we do is Toolbox Talks. I don't know if you're familiar with Toolbox Talks. It's a program that OSHA helps contractors with. And you can create your own, but they're just suggestive items. You talk about ladders one morning, the next morning you're talking about extension cords, the next morning you're talking about scaffolding, the next one you're talking about work boots. And so it does 2 things. For us, it does 2 things is you're talking about that particular topic, but it also is a reminder that every day safety is in the forefront of your mind. And so if your employees know if you're taking it seriously, then they should be taking it seriously. So that's really the benefit that I've noticed from our safety program that we have. And I probably, with a lot of contractors, say our program could be a little bit better. It always could be better, right?
We'd like to take just a quick break to thank our sponsor, Top Roof Marketing, a full-service marketing group that specializes in the commercial roofing industry. If you're looking to boost the commercial side of your business, they have lots of ideas to connect you with building owners who are looking for help. Visit toproofmarketing.com.
Talk to me about how communication from the top down is important because, as a boss, as the owner of the company, obviously you want guys to go home at the end of the day to their family safe. And but, you got guys that are in their 20s, not quite 30 yet, a lot of times in commercial, in roofing. And I was that way, I was 10 foot tall and bulletproof, right? Like I thought I could do everything. I wouldn't get hurt. I could bounce off the cement and still, come to work the next day. Talk to me about how an owner really has to make sure that everybody down the chain of command knows that safety is important and that there's a protocol.
Yeah, I mean, you said it best. 20 years old, you're bulletproof. You don't think about those things. But
Yep.
as a business owner, you definitely have to think about those things. For me, it would have been if my boss would have said, "Hey, this is what you need to look for." Like, "Hey, we do have painted over skylights. There, it is going to be on those areas. It's going to be very detrimental that you don't step on those." And so, as somebody that had no idea what they were doing, obviously me, that'd be my first couple weeks being there. I needed that guidance from my boss. So I think that comes down, everything rolls downhill. So if my boss isn't telling me something that I need to know, then I'm not going to know it going forward. So toolbox talks, everything like that needs to be a priority for everybody going on a roof.
Yep. There's another thing that probably should go without saying, but I have to mention it. But obviously, this employer had workers' compensation, right? Insurance to cover an incident.
Oh, for sure.
Many roofers do not. I hear so many people, "Oh, I get paid under the table," or the very common way of business now is I 1099 my employees. We don't have any employees; they're 1099. They carry their own insurance, but everybody knows that certificates lapse. People buy false policies. People buy ghost policies. People just flat out don't get the insurance. They're just working without insurance, and it happens all the time. And so if you're one of these guys and you're like, "Hey, I started work for a roofing company next week, whether it's residential or commercial," and do your due diligence and make sure that they have adequate coverage on you, because like you said, it was just your first couple of weeks, right? And you fell. And so
your first couple.
Yep.
With the first couple of weeks with any company, usually you don't have insurance. So if I would have fallen and not have work comp, I would still be paying medical bills off today.
For sure. So just make sure you ask your employee or your employer that they have adequate insurance, and I would even say to go so far as to see a certificate. We do have a if you want to go somewhere to get an idea of how to put together a safety program, you can visit, or we're going to put the link down in the comments here or in the title of this. I'm sure Meg will take care of that later. She's the magic technician behind the show here. But we want to. It's just a generic idea of how to put together a safety policy, but you can find these online. But having a crappy one is better than having none at all. So make sure that you at least have one, and you can fine tune it as you go along. Another good thing you can do too is, and everybody hates the word OSHA. I get it, but they do have a free consultation where they can come out and visit a job site if you invite them. Investigate this a little bit more because I don't want to speak on their behalf, but you can invite them onto a job site without having fines on the initial visit, and they will tell you, this is what you should be doing and that which we should be doing. There's also secondary agencies that are in between OSHA and the contractor that can also help you with paperwork, safety procedures and safety policies and handbooks and stuff like that. So obviously those people cost money. You can buy those programs, but you want to keep your guys safe, not just for their own safety, but for the health and the longevity of your own company, because it doesn't take much for a guy can fall off a 6-foot ladder and hit his head in the right place and die, or be paralyzed or in a vegetative state for a long time. And it doesn't take much to put your company under. And I'm not saying put your company under like, you're going to lose money or your livelihood. If you have multiple guys working for you, that means you have multiple people's livelihoods that are at stake because of an injury of one guy. So it's something to be taken very seriously. It took me several years to realize in the roofing industry that, holy crap, I'm putting guys out every day out in the field that are 20, 30 feet off the ground, and all it takes is for one shoe to slip off of a slope, or one shoe to slip in water, or one guy to not grab the ladder just right, and it could be a tragedy every day. And so, I mean, if you think about it too much, it could actually, drive you crazy because of how much risk. But that's really why it's important that we have these policies in place. And so, is there anything you want to add about, because with your injury, because I know this affects you every day still, right? Like it's still something that I mean, you don't forget. I mean, you're not like back to 20 years old again, right? Like you have.
No, not at all. I have chronic arthritis in my hip socket. I mean, it looks like a spiked ball in there rolling around in my hip joint. So especially when it gets cold, and obviously we're getting ready to go into winter season.
Yep.
I'm going to have more aches and pains. I can't, there's a lot of things that I can't do anymore that I enjoyed doing before, running, the occasional intramural softball league, all those things that you do that now I can't do because I'm pretty much, just disabled on that hip. So
yep.
It's terrible.
About 5 years ago, we had a similar story here, right 8 minutes down the road from my house. Same guy, same thing. Guy was measuring the building. He was walking backwards on the roof, stepped into a skylight, fell 35 feet, I think it was, but he died. And
wow.
And that one really jolted me because he was 42 years old and married with 4 kids, and I was 42 years old and married with 4 kids at that time. And so it just kind of struck me like that could have been me, And so, so that's one story that this happens all the time in the roofing industry. But let's see. About 15 years ago, I happened to do a short little stint in Florida helping some hurricane damage crews out. And I had a crew that decided to not sober up one day. I had to go out and kind of fill in some of the labor, and because we were trying to get some work done, and I was on the job, and the customer kept giving me grape soda and orange soda, and of course, being Michigander, that's pretty hot heat down there, even in March, and so it was like 85, 90 degrees, high humidity, and I didn't really have anything to eat. But, I'm just pushing, right? I'm just pushing, trying to get this roof done. And I'm pulling some drip edge off or doing something on the bottom of the eave. And I don't know if I fainted or I passed out, because I remember falling to the ground, but
Right.
I had no control over my body. Like, I've had people tell me it was just heat exhaustion. Your body just gave out. I fell to the ground. I landed on my head with my feet in the air. When I got up, I kind of hurt, but I thought I was okay, but I was kind of like walking crooked. And the homeowner's like, no, you're not good. I got to take you to the hospital. So I ended up having 3 cracked ribs and 1 compacted vertebrae. And I was in no shape to do anything. And so my dad had to come down to Florida and carry my butt home. And so, sometimes I know even young guys are like, I'm a monkey. I can jump here to there, and I can do this and this and that, and I'm a circus performer. I can do it. But dude, I had no control over anything when your body just decides to shut down. I couldn't.
Yeah, exactly.
I couldn't grab anything. I couldn't land on my feet like a cat. I was completely immobile, falling to the ground. So that again is key on having a safety procedure, because I didn't have fall protection on, and I didn't have another person. I'm pretty sure at that particular time I was working by myself. I didn't have another guy working with me. Fortunately, the homeowner was there. But yeah, I mean, we hear about these things all the time, especially on social media. People get hurt, and most of the time they can be avoided with correct policies into place. So, anything you want to add on your story as far as getting hurt, or
just don't fall through the roof. That's
through
it.
the roof or off the roof? Yeah.
Or off the roof. Yeah, it does. Yeah, either one of those things.
Yep. I always like the little joke you see online sometimes. It says, "I fell off a 32-foot ladder today. Fortunately, I was on the first step."
Right, exactly. Yeah, if you're gonna do it, definitely there.
So, well, thanks for being on the show today, Max. I really appreciate it. I know what you're doing now is still kind of related to the roofing industry. You do marketing.
Of course, yeah.
And so you're able to write blogs and articles and stuff like that. So you're still in it. But
yeah,
thank you. You guys busy this year?
Are
you guys really busy?
Yeah, we're insanely busy right now. So it's nice.
Right now we're 100 miles an hour. The hair on fire, and now it feels like the wheels are coming off. So, but it's good.
Yeah,
we got a lot of work and things are humming along. So we're having a great season. But like I said, thanks for being on the show. Really appreciate it, and I really hope you feel better. I hope your body heals a little bit better, and you don't suffer from that arthritis too much this winter.
Right.
It doesn't sound very good having spiky things in my so
no, not at all.
So
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Yep. Thank you, Max, and you have a good night.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the Rocket Roof Show podcast. Be sure to subscribe through your favorite podcasting platforms such as iTunes or Google Play to get the latest episodes as they are launched. For more, please follow us on social media or visit our website at rocketroofshow.com. We look forward to joining you here again soon at the next launch.